Good morning. Welcome to your Primetime News. I'm Dhammika Ekanaika.
The top story on Gold FM.
The government refused a parliamentary debate requested by the opposition regarding the theft of $2.5 million paid by the Treasury to computer hackers. Amid this refusal, the Free Lawyers Organisation sent a letter with 22 questions to the Cabinet headed by President Anurakumara Dissanayake. Speaking at a media briefing in Colombo, the organisation's convener, President's Counsel Maitri Gunaratne, addressed the matter. In the interest of clarity, we have refrained from dubbing his remarks.
මේකේ හැකර්වරයෙක් පැහැදිලිවම නැහැ. කොද මේ ණය ගෙවන්නයි කියලා කවුරු හරි පුද්ගලයෙක් විදේශ රටකින් ලිපියක් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙනවා මහා භාණ්ඩාගාරය. ඒ ඉල්ලීම අනුව මහා භාණ්ඩාගාරයේ නිලධාරීන් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙලා මහා බැංකුවෙන් අනුමැතිය අරගෙන මහා බැංකුවේදී කියලා තියෙනවා පරීක්ෂා කරලා බැලුවායින් පස්සේ මේක නිදහස් කරන්නයි. පරීක්ෂා කරනවා නම් ඒ ණය වාරිකයට සම්බන්ධ ෆයිල් එකක් තියෙනවනේ ලිපිකණු. ඒ ડોකියුමන්ට් එක ආශ්‍රිතවනේ මේක චෙක් කරන්න ඕනේ. මේගොල්ලෝ ඒ ડોකියුමන්ට් එක දිහා බලන්නේ නැතුව අර ඊමේල් එකේ ආපු ටෙලිෆෝන් නම්බර් එකට කතා කරලා අහලා තිනවා මේ බැංකු account එක හරිද කියලා. ඉතින් මේ මිනිස්සු වැරදි කියලා කියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකට තමයි මේ සල්ලි ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර් කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
Simultaneously, political parties representing the opposition and the citizens of the People's Struggle Organisation held a protest yesterday morning in front of the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank. Protesters smashed coconuts, demanding the immediate removal of Treasury Secretary Harshana Suryaperuma. During a party leaders' meeting held yesterday under the chairmanship of Speaker Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne, the opposition requested a one-day debate on the incident where $2.5 million paid by the Treasury fell into the hands of a hacking group. Chief Opposition Whip Gayantha Karunatilaka stated that the government denied this request, and in the interest of clarity, we refrain from dubbing his remarks.
රජය මේ පිළිබඳව විවාද කිරීමට අවස්ථාවක් නොදෙන නිසා විපක්ෂයේ හැටියට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඉදිරි පාර්ලිමේන්තු සතියට පෙර විශේෂයෙන්ම සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී කණ්ඩායම් රැස්වීමේදී ඒ වගේම විපක්ෂයේ සෙසු පක්ෂවල නායක කාරකාදීන් සමගත් සාකච්ඡා කරලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ තුල මහ ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් ඉෂ්ට කළ යුතු වගකීම ඉටු කරන්න ගත යුතු ඉදිරි පියවර පිළිබඳව සාකච්ඡා කරලා අවශ්‍ය පියවර ගන්න.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Now, the executive committee member of the People's Struggle Movement, Vasantha Mudalige, alleges that there are plans to award the digital identity card tender to an Indian company blacklisted during President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's administration. Mudalige raised these concerns during a media briefing held in Colombo yesterday. In the meantime, the Ministry of Digital Economy issued a set of guidelines to heads of institutions regarding the optimal use of digital technologies for remote public service delivery. The directive states that employees must use secure digital media for document exchange. Instructions mandate the use of official government email addresses as the primary method for sharing scanned or digitally prepared official documents. The Ministry of Digital Economy further warns against sending classified or highly sensitive government data through public messaging applications. The new guidelines also specify that all documents require password protection before transmission. The Deputy Prelate of the Kotte Sri Kalyani Samagri Dharma Mahasangha Sabha claims the government changed the date of the Vesak full moon Poya Day, falling on the 1st of May based on political requirements. Speaking to media, the Agamaha Pandit, Professor Venerable Kotapitiya Rahulathera, stated that the Vesak Poya Day underwent this change to accommodate May Day celebrations. The Court of Appeal yesterday ordered the Director General of Wildlife to appear in court and explain measures taken to minimize human-elephant conflict, including the removal of illegally constructed electric fences. The order issued by the Court of Appeal mandated that the Director General or a responsible representative provide these explanations on the next court date. The Association for the Protection of Elephants filed this writ application requesting an order to regulate illegal electric fences built to mitigate the human-elephant conflict. During the hearing, the petitioner's lawyer argued that a motion filed by the Attorney General failed to address the core issues raised in the petition regarding steps taken to manage the conflict. The lawyer further informed the court that issues concerning the regulation of illegal electric fences, including the lack of authorized voltage levels, remain unresolved. The court noted that finding solutions to the human-elephant problems is an urgent necessity requiring immediate attention from authorities. The justice emphasized that since elephants are recognized as public property and a national asset, authorities must ensure their protection. Now then, with the conflict in the Middle East severing vital global shipping routes and exporters left stranded, experts warn that the real threat to the world-renowned Ceylon tea comes from within, a dire crisis of both geopolitics and aging agriculture. By the end of March, Sri Lanka recorded a tea export deficit of nearly 2.8 million kilos compared to last year, facing a massive blow. Niraj Dimel, chairman of the Sri Lanka Tea Board, explains the immediate paralysis.
The way they were hammering all the countryside, including hammering Dubai and Bahrain and Kuwait and so on. So that put a lot of fear into the shipping line that they were not taking cargo. They were requesting Sri Lankan tea exporters to hold back shipment. Whatever that was already on sea were being offloaded in ports in India and so on because they didn't want to take the cargo and go into troubled water. So all in all, it is the drop is totally because of the impact from the war which broke out on the 20th of February. That is why we find that we were on a positive till end of February and March alone severe drop, and that has resulted in a quarter drop of, for the first 3 months we have dropped down by something like 2.8 million kilos. We have done little over 6 million kilos, whereas last year we did 63 million kilos plus the first 3 months of 2025. So purely because of the March drop, which as you said was about 15-16%, has affected the export performance.
The island's share of global tea production has plummeted from nearly 20% a few decades ago to just 3.5% today. The reason, it turns out, is literally rooted in the ground. Dr. Mel argues that mere survival now requires drastic modernization at home and new geopolitical alliances abroad.
Implementing ease of doing business. That has been the severe negative in this country. So our so-called, people are hammering left, right, and center about procurement process. Yes, they are all actually inhibiting Sri Lankan export growth. You can't be having this kind of tedious, archaic 1940s and 50s procurement procedures to apply in the fast-paced, digitalized world that we are in today. So all this has to be relooked at. So when an attack like this happens, you can't overnight think of, let's do this and now increase our exports. That's not going to happen. You need to have dialogue. And I had said in that this government is perhaps in a better position to look at coming into long-term arrangements, government to government, with countries like China, with countries like India. These are all large tea-drinking countries. And China, today the Chinese youth are drinking a lot of black tea. So these involve long-term negotiations coming into government-to-government arrangements and get our exporters to line up and facilitate the export. Government must make channels easy for them to export, not have this rigorous kind of obstacles being put when it comes to exports or when it comes to import of things for export purposes. All that has to be relooked at. But this requires, you can't discuss a war that has broken out, you can't find a quick fixes to improve on some other end. So this is something that even the previous government should have done. We are very comfortable carrying on.
Meanwhile, Dimel went on to say that with rains approaching in May, crop yields are expected to rise, but without upgraded warehouse facilities and streamlined export laws, the tea risks going nowhere. For Ceylon tea to reclaim its crown, the industry must fundamentally modernize before time runs out.
Now for some news in brief.
Now, the Department of Meteorology forecasts showers or thunder showers in most parts of the island after 1 p.m. with fairly heavy falls above 75 millimeters likely at some places in western, Sabaragamuwa, central, northwestern, north central and southern provinces and in the Mannar district.
The business news on Gold FM.
And now it's time for a stock market update brought to you by Roshan Fernando of Capital Trust Securities.
The Colombo Stock Exchange All-Share Price Index increased 44 points to close at 22,612. The S&P SR20 Index also increased 9 points to close at 6,214. The market extended its positive territory with investor appearance to look towards the Middle East crisis is sorting down. However, the turnover remained very low of 2.97 billion. Trading was led by active participation in Colombo Land Development, Maharaja Foods and Vidulanka. Sector-wise, activity was concentrated in food and beverages, capital goods and banking counters.
Browns Beach Hotels plc ceases trading on the Colombo Stock Exchange with effect from today following a formal delisting triggered by years of financial instability. The company reported sustained losses dating back to 2019, citing the impact of the Easter Sunday attacks, the pandemic and the national economic crisis. Majority shareholders Melster Corp plc and Aitken Spence Hotel Holdings plc provided monetary shareholders an exit price of 30 rupees per share. Auditors previously raised concerns over the firm's negative net asset position and its inability to meet minimum public float requirements. Global energy prices rose for a seventh consecutive day as President Donald Trump rejected the latest Iranian proposal to end hostilities. The conflict continues to paralyze the Strait of Hormuz, a waterway critical for 20% of the world's oil and gas consumption. Brent crude futures reached $108.68 a barrel today, while West Texas Intermediate climbed to nearly $96.92 a barrel.
International news on Gold FM.
Now, the US President Donald Trump is unhappy with a new peace proposal from Tehran because it fails to address Iran's nuclear program. The plan suggests halting the current war and reopening the Strait of Hormuz, but seeks to delay nuclear negotiations until after the conflict ends. While the president discussed the matter with his national security team yesterday, White House officials say Washington maintains that nuclear issues require immediate attention. Mediators in Pakistan continue efforts to bridge the gap between the nations through hopes for a breakthrough faded after the president cancelled a high-level diplomatic visit to Islamabad. Tensions at sea escalated further as U.S. Central Command confirmed the guided missile destroyer USS Rafael Peralta stopped an Iranian-flagged crude oil tanker, the MT Stream. The vessel was intercepted while attempting to sail to an Iranian port as part of an ongoing U.S. blockade. Tehran reacted by accusing the United States of piracy and armed robbery on the high seas. This maritime confrontation occurs as UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres warns that the continued instability in the region risks a global food emergency. On the diplomatic front, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg to discuss the stalemate. Iranian officials state they require firm guarantees against future American attacks before they consider restarting nuclear talks. Meanwhile, violence continues in Lebanon, where Israeli strikes killed at least 4 people despite a nominal ceasefire. Hezbollah leadership continues to reject direct negotiations with Israel and refuses to surrender its weaponry. A 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen from California faces charges of attempting to assassinate U.S. President Donald Trump following a shooting at the White House Correspondents Association dinner. Allen appeared in Washington federal court yesterday, where prosecutors stated he could face a life sentence if convicted. Authorities say Allen brought a shotgun and a semi-automatic handgun to the high-profile gala, where he reportedly labeled the president a traitor in emails sent to family members. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche confirmed that investigators recovered a spent shell casing, indicating the weapon was fired during the incident. Court documents reveal that Allen, who holds a master's degree in computer science, identifies himself as a friendly federal assassin and planned to target senior administration officials.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
The Michael Jackson musical biopic, Michael, claimed the record for the biggest global opening weekend for a biographical film, earning $217 million since its debut. Jafar Jackson portrays his late uncle in the production, which surpassed previous record holders Bohemian Rhapsody and Oppenheimer, despite critical reviews labeling the film a sanitized version of the singer's life.
Sports News on Gold FM.
Now, Josh Hazelwood and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar produced a masterclass in swing bowling to dismantle the Delhi Capitals for just 75 runs in yesterday's Indian Premier League fixture. The Delhi side collapsed to a record low of 8 runs for the loss of 6 wickets within the first 6 overs, before a brief recovery led by Abhishek Parol. Royal Challengers Bengaluru secured the 9-wicket victory with 81 balls remaining, boosted by Devdutt Padikkal's unbeaten 34. During the chase, Virat Kohli reached a historic milestone as the first player to achieve 9,000 runs in the competition. And that's it for now, but do join us once more at 8:30 a.m. for your news highlight. Bye for now.